Hello and welcome. You're watching To The Point. One man who is not just at the center of controversy, but seems to have upset vast sections of the media and public opinion is the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University. His explanation that undergraduate girls cannot be given access to the library because it would distract the boys or because there isn't sufficient space has been widely criticized as sexist, discriminatory and illogical. In part 2, Lieutenant General Zameeruddin Shah breaks his silence and explains what he meant and also apologizes to those who have taken offense. But first, the Fadnavis government in Maharashtra has won a vote of confidence, but the BJP alliance with the Shiv Sena seems to have completely collapsed. Secondly, both Congress and the Shiv Sena are complaining that it was a voice vote rather than a conventional division that determined the outcome. So tonight in part 1, we examine the situation in Maharashtra. We ask, will this voice vote count? Will the breakup in Maharashtra affect the NDA in Delhi? And could we see Sharad Pawar moving a lot closer to Narendra Modi? And now joining me to discuss the situation in Maharashtra is the executive editor of Headlines Today, Javed Ansari, a senior fellow from Shivnadar University, Siddharth Vardharajan, the political editor of The Hindu, Verghese George, and the senior editor of the Hindustan Times, Smriti Kopikar. Siddharth Vardharajan, let's start with the voter confidence this morning. Although everyone knew that the BJP would win, was it right to do it by voice vote rather than by the conventional division?
I think it was very unseemly, very unfortunate that they chose this shortcut because the numbers favored the BJP. I suppose what they didn't want to make apparent is the precise arrangement with the NCP because whether they remain silent in a division or they cast their vote with the BJP, it would have been some kind of an embarrassment for the BJP and for the NCP, I would imagine. So I think this fudge has been contrived to hide from the public the precise nature of the alliance, for want of a better word, between the NCP and the BJP. And it's highly unfortunate that something so crucial as the first vote of confidence should have been conducted in this manner, hiding behind the speaker's right to pronounce on these matters.
Smriti Kopikar, both the Shiv Sena and Congress have protested and both say they will complain to the governor. What are the chances that the governor might intervene and ask the speaker to conduct the vote again, this time by a conventional division?
I can't say for sure at this point. It looks like the Sena and the Congress both are in the mood to protest, and they will take the fight to the extent that they can. Whether they are able to impress upon the governor, whether they are able to substantiate the reasons why they are asking for another division of vote, that remains to be seen. What's curious here is that the Shiv Sena and the Congress, never the best of friends, but have been there for one another through the decades, find themselves on the same side of the line today. And they must work out some sort of a concerted strategy if they have to take the Fadnavis government on.
Now, Javed,
but Karan, having said that, I still have a question mark over what is Uddhav Thackeray's strategy. He's out of...
I'm stopping you. We'll come to Uddhav Thackeray and his strategy or lack of strategy in a moment's time. Let's take it stage by stage. I want to concentrate for now, Javed Ansari, on the vote and the nature of the vote. This was a needless controversy. Would you blame an inexperienced speaker for mishandling it, or would you blame an inexperienced BJP government?
I think the blame should lie with the government. They must have gone and decided in advance how to go forward, and unnecessarily now there is a question mark over the legitimacy of this government. This reminds me of the manner in which VP Singh became Prime Minister. Everybody knew that he had the support, but then they played that game of first Devilal being nominated and then he sitting down and asking VP Singh to take over. You know, why create a situation like this? The only reason was because they didn't want to own up their relationship with the NCP.
On this question of the legitimacy of the government being in doubt or under question, how serious is the doubt? How serious is the question?
Well, the question is a lot more moral than anything else, you know, because it creates that moral halo that Mr. Fadnavis had acquired.
Is damaged.
It's damaged. to begin with. I mean, he's got off on the wrong foot. He needn't have done that.
Verghese George, this evening when the governor came to address the assembly, there was in fact a scuffle. The Congress and the Shiv Sena tried to stop him. There was allegedly some manhandling. Apparently the governor got injured, and as a result 5 Congress MLAs have been suspended for 2 years. Does 2 years seem a bit too long? Or given that this was utterly unacceptable behavior, would you say it's understandable?
I think it is disproportionate, the decision to suspend them for such a long period of time. At any rate, the entire start of the new BJP government in Maharashtra is on a bad note. It was a completely avoidable controversy on the day one. There is no reason why they should not have had a division of vote. And there is absolutely, other than the reason that other panelists have pointed out, they both NCP and BJP are embarrassed about the nature of that alliance, after having run a very vicious campaign against each other as in the recent assembly elections. I think both parties know that they are doing something which is not exactly defensible before the public eyes. Just to avoid that, they have taken this shortcut, and I think it was a completely avoidable controversy for the beginning of a new government in Maharashtra.
But also the other
and
thing,
the suspension, of course, is disproportionate.
the suspension is disproportionate. 2 years is too much. Am I correct in understanding that?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's move on. Siddharth Varadarajan, one consequence of today's outcome is the Shiv Sena has broken with the BJP in Maharashtra. But is this a permanent break? Or do you think after a period of time, the two former allies could patch up and come back together?
You see, the Shiv Sena has as much riding on the resumption of some kind of a relationship with the BJP as the BJP does as well. The Shiv Sena and BJP have a working relationship in municipal councils, Bombay being a good example. And I don't think the party can afford a full-fledged rupture precisely because the BJP's long-term intention is to gobble up the Shiv Sena's political space. So I think that the game that Uddhav Thackeray has to play has to be very, very carefully considered. I think that he is, he's mishandled his cards in the past, but I think today the BJP is in a bind. I mean, the fact that they had to mishandle the vote of confidence in this manner suggests that the BJP is not at all comfortable with this arrangement. They know that it will play very badly with their own constituency. But I do want to make one small point, if I may, Karan, on the suspension of these MLAs. I don't think it's disproportionate at all. I think manhandling the governor is a very serious matter. You will recall that in 2009, 4 MNS MLAs manhandled the Samajwadi Party MLA, and I believe they were suspended for 4 years. So there is a precedent for this, and I think that message has to go somewhere down the line, that elected representatives cannot misbehave and resort to violence, least of all against the governor of all people. I mean, this is really quite unacceptable. And I think the Congress and Shiv Sena have a strong case, but I think they shouldn't muck up that case by misbehaving in this manner on the floor of the House. Let them stick to principles, and the moral high ground is available for them. But for them to do this sort of thing is really quite unpardonable in my view.
Smriti Kopakar, a moment ago you wanted to talk about Uddhav Thackeray's strategy, or what I was suggesting might be better called a lack of strategy. How long do you think Mr. Thackeray can hold out? He's clearly been bargaining for more than the BJP is prepared to give, and up till now he's been on the wrong end of that bargain. The BJP's called his bluff and got away with it. Is there a danger that Mr. Thackeray, who now lacks the wisdom of his father, might, as a result of a mixture of arrogance and defiance, push himself down a path of virtual political suicide because he refuses to accept an alliance on the BJP's terms? Or do you think reality and the cold light of being out of power will hit him very hard and he'll say, no, I'm prepared to come in even if on bended knees?
Well, Karan, they used to say in Maharashtra politics that it's hard to know what is in Sharad Pawar's mind. I think in the last 21 days since the assembly result has been out, it's been pretty clear what's been on Pawar's mind, but it's become harder and harder to tell what's on Uddhav Thackeray's mind and where is he headed. It's not what he wants to do right now, it's where is he headed, what does he want to do with the party, where does he want to take the party. He very much wants to be in power, that's for sure. This is not a bargain that he wanted at all. He would have accepted much less than what the BJP wanted to give him if they would have taken him into power. I think his biggest grouse today is that the BJP just ditched and dumped him the way it did. My guess is that, and the sense that I get from the ground is that eventually whether he comes around to sharing power with the BJP at a later date or continues to sit in the opposition, it looks quite certain that the BJP is out to claim the Shiv Sena space in Maharashtra.
Okay.
And this is not a strategy that they worked out on the 25th or 26th of September when they called the alliance off. This is something that I understand they had been working at ever since the Lok Sabha results were in, and they knew that they were on a good wicket.
You know,
and it's simply that Uddhav Thackeray didn't have an answer to any of the questions that the BJP threw at him.
Uddhav Thackeray clearly is the loser in this equation, and he's misplayed what was anyway to begin with a pretty poor hand. Let's look at the same equation from the BJP point of view. The BJP clearly knows that at the end of the day, an alliance with Shiv Sena is preferable to a minority government dependent upon assorted independents and the NCP. But now that they've got the upper hand so clearly, do you think they're of a mind to secure Shiv Sena's support on something more than just their own terms, i.e. give a little bit more to the Shiv Sena so that Uddhav Thackeray's face can be saved?
Well, logic would dictate that they follow this path, but I'm not so sure because, you know, there are a lot of people in the present dispensation who believe that if an opponent is down, then just turn the knife in a bit more rather than allow him to give him breathing space. So perhaps they could be tempted to knock them out, try and knock them out. But as things stand today, it does indicate that the BJP government in Maharashtra will not have a smooth ride because they have a party in the NCP who, like Chetan Bhagat's half-girlfriend, having unilaterally offered support, the BJP doesn't want to own them up. And you have the Congress which is breathing down your neck, and as is the Shiv Sena. So it will be in their interest to win over Shiv Sena. How they do it, one doesn't know. My view is it will not happen immediately. It will take some time now because having voted against the BJP today, it will be very difficult for both parties to bury the hatchet suddenly tomorrow.
Verghese George, if in fact it is going to be a process of time and maybe quite a lot of time before the two former allies can get back together, is there a danger that in the interim, the alliance in Delhi might break as well?
It's very likely. I am not. I think I'm not foreseeing any concession from the BJP to the Shiv Sena in the immediate future. Particularly the last editorial that Samana wrote on the day of the elections, which personally almost abused Narendra Modi, I think had actually broken that relationship that Modi and Uddhav Thackeray had shared at some point in time. And BJP leaders who I have spoken to on this issue have been very, very bitter about that particular editorial. So I don't think BJP is going to be in a hurry to make up with the Shiv Sena and to repair that relationship. And in particularly, though it might appear very troublesome for BJP, the Maharashtra situation, the fact is that the Shiv Sena, the Congress and the NCP, none of them would want an election now. So that is the reason why all of them would tolerate this government, if not tacitly supporting it. So BJP is not going to be in a hurry to reach out to Shiv Sena, and Uddhav Thackeray has very little to say. I mean, he is trying to be more Hindutva than Narendra Modi is offering. I don't think that is a particularly appealing political platform in today's Maharashtra's context. So Uddhav Thackeray now appears totally cornered, without options, whereas the BJP, despite the fact that it is running a minority government, it has created all these ruckus on day one of its start. BJP is on a better wicket relative to other three players in Maharashtra.
In which case, Vardarajan, if the trumps are clearly in the BJP's hands and poor Mr. Thackeray and the Shiv Sena look as if they're boxed into a corner, Is there not a danger that the BJP may go for broke, let the relationship in Delhi break, and also pull out of the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation, as well as the arrangements they have in places like Thane and Kalyan? Because the Shiv Sena then would be completely helpless.
You know, I don't think Delhi is all that important, quite frankly, because the BJP's numbers are comfortable, and you know, Mr. Gite will not be missed, to put it mildly, were he to exit the Council of Ministers.
They require some help. Sena's help in the Rajya Sabha.
The danger for the BJP is that the support, the so-called unconditional, unqualified support from the NCP, it obviously comes with strings attached. And it will circumscribe Mr. Fadnavis's, you know, maneuverability, his room for maneuver when he, you know, for example, on anti-corruption issues. Okay. So somewhere down the line, the BJP is going to have to betray promises made to the public, or at any rate will be unable to fulfill certain public expectations, because going down that route would mean taking on powerful NCP politicians who will not take very kindly to that. And if at that stage the BJP's relationship with the Shiv Sena continues to remain you know, the way it is today, then the Fadnavis government you know, imperils itself. So I think that this is a problem that the BJP will have to sort out, because you know, the public in Maharashtra wants a probe into the irrigation scam, the Adarsh scam, all these other things where the NCP Congress were involved. And if you're going to give the NCP a free pass, that's going to create troubles, you know, a problem for you in terms of your positioning within Maharashtra and nationally.
Siddharth Varadarajan is suggesting that there will be a certain amount of pressure on the BJP to patch up with the Shiv Sena because of the problems that will arise if they're prolonged in their dependence upon NCP. Is there not another sort of pressure on the BJP that will lead to patching up, which is this, that if they lose the Shiv Sena in Delhi in the NDA, then Mr. Modi loses his majority in any joint session of Parliament. And if that happens, there could be question marks whether he can pass labour law reforms, land acquisition, even GST. Or do you think he can hope to make up the numbers in Delhi by relying on AIA, DMK, BJD, perhaps the NCP?
Yes, you're right. He's already done his homework. The NCP will compensate as well, but the NCP, the BJD, as well as the other, the Anna DMK will compensate for that. But life will be difficult. For the moment, he doesn't have a decision to make, especially with regards to Maharashtra. Having won the vote of confidence, no matter how they won it, they're safe for 6 months. Nobody can bring a no confidence motion, and so therefore, he has 6 months' time to try and play one against the other, and then see how things work out.
In that 6-month period, Smriti Kopika, what do you see is the future of the Shiv Sena? Because if there's no rush to patch up, and if the Shiv Sena remains not just out of power, but questioning its own future internally, which undoubtedly they're doing, what then will be the reality for them? Is there a danger they could actually split? Could frustration and disillusionment with Uddhav Thackeray reach such a level?
Well, that does look possible. What looks even more possible is that the Fadnavis government, in fact, his political managers might try to split the Shiv Sena legislature party. They have 63. If they manage to split, then the government gets comfortable and it can do without this NCP's unconditional support that clearly comes with strings attached.
Can I interrupt?
So I think
Can I interrupt, Smriti? A split these days requires 2/3 breaking away. It's not 1/3 any longer. Can they really prize away 2/3 of the Shiv Sena?
I think they will try to, because that is their best bet to last out the 5-year term. It looks extremely difficult, but that is what they will try to do. That's the best course of action they have at the moment. And as one of the other panelists said, they have 6 months to do this political re-engineering, as it were.
Verghese George, 2 quick questions. During that 6-month period, as the BJP sizes up the situation in Maharashtra and how they should play their hand, do you believe that Mr. Gite will be retained?
See, BJP would not throw Anand Gite proactively out of the ministry. That is the sense that I've got. But at the same time, BJP has made it clear, not only to Shiv Sena, but to all other alliance partners, that there is nothing to be bargained for, there is nothing to be demanded for. the entire arrangement is on BJP's terms. You take it or leave it. That has been BJP's attitude towards all its alliance partners. So there is not going to be any difference in that attitude. If Shiv Sena is willing to swallow all that humiliation and stay on in Union Cabinet, that might well be the case. And as far as the longevity of the Maharashtra government goes, I think BJP may consider other options also. For example, if the BJP government falls on a question of a corruption investigation which they could launch against NCP leaders, then that could be a good campaign plank to go to polls with. So therefore, as I would emphasize the earlier point I made, which is that all three players in Maharashtra are on the defensive. And particularly Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena will have to do something really radical and innovative to even survive. Uddhav Thackeray may have to patch up with his cousin, swallowing his pride. So Shiv Sena will have to really look for something to survive. NCP, whatever bargaining power they may have, do you think NCP can survive another election if it comes in 6 months or 1 year? So I think all the other three players in Maharashtra will be very, very wary of an election, whereas BJP can very well afford to have an election.
You know, Siddharth Varadarajan, it's quite clear that the big loser seems to be Uddhav Thackeray. Would you say that alongside the BJP, someone who's done really extremely, and if not surprisingly well, is Sharad Pawar? Because from 4th position, he's managed to make the NCP far more important than otherwise anyone thought it would have emerged to be.
You know, he has what in business or sports you'd call a first mover advantage. Even before the final results came out, he promptly declared, I think through Praful Patel, that the NCP would be extending outside support, unconditional support, that they wanted to see a stable government in Maharashtra, and that BJP was the only one who could do that. And I think it was a masterstroke from his point of view. Clearly, some of the NCP supporters will not be very happy with this, which would explain the kind of public prevarication that we've seen in some of the NCP leaders' utterances today, in their refusal, for example, to explain how their MLAs, did they remain silent, or did they shout yes or no when the voice vote was held. So there is some element of shadow boxing or shadow play that the NCP is going to indulge in to ensure that its flock remains with it. But I think on the whole, Pawar has played his cards extremely well. He is very much, he remains relevant despite doing so badly in the elections. And I don't think there will be any wider national implications for this, quite frankly. But I think Mr. Pawar would be quite satisfied with protecting his interest in Maharashtra. In the short to medium term. I think that this is what the essence of his gameplay is.
I want to pick up on that last thought. Siddharth Varadarajan doesn't think there are going to be national implications of the way Sharad Pawar has played his hand. But if I recall correctly, when Sharad Pawar was opposition MP during the days of the Vajpayee government, he managed to get so close to Mr. Vajpayee. Mr. Vajpayee made him chairman of the National Disaster Management Authority. Is there a possibility over time that Sharad Pawar could move closer to Mr. Modi?
There is a distinct possibility. In fact, I do believe that over a period of time, that relationship could be formalized into a legal one in Maharashtra and outside support in Delhi, because Mr. Modi doesn't need Pawar within the government. There'll be other benefits. Perhaps the Modi government and the Fadnavis government will look the other way as far as the irrigation and other scams are involved.
So Mr. Pawar also has got a rather good hand to play it. He's playing it very cleverly.
He's playing it very cleverly, certainly.
All right, gentlemen, at that point, Smriti, we come to the end of this particular story. My thanks to all of you.